Hello and welcome to Metra AV Tech Tips. I'm Brent.
I'm Adam.
And as you can see,
I'm back.
He's off of his COVID vacation and back in the studio and still on the phones. You didn't get a week off.
I was.
You just weren't here.
So let's get that out of the way right now before we go any further and find out why I was on the phone so much over
well, obviously
the past
you're
couple
not
days.
dead.
No, yeah, I'm still here. So we'll get that out of the way. I unfortunately was the only person in our entire group to come back as a test positive for COVID.
But no symptoms.
But no symptoms. I am vaccinated, so that apparently helped out quite a bit. And
or you were false positive.
Or I was a false positive. Either way. So that I'm okay. We're back. We're back in business. We're good to go. Doing good things with it.
I do know you were working.
Yeah, I was working. Now,
as best as we could tell, you were working from beside the pool.
Yeah. Well, I went to the beach and did some work from the beach. I went to the park, did some work from the park.
I was wondering about the sunburn.
Yeah, exactly. So no, anyways, I'm back. We're back in business. We don't have to do the long distance thing anymore. We're
by the way,
here.
You did a great job of that last week.
Yeah,
I mean, you made it work. I was very impressed.
That software, that StreamYard software, is a lifesaver for situations like that. And I think going forward, I think we'll start using that when we bring in other visitors and interviewees and whatever.
There's going to be more of that obviously happening.
Yes.
Both from your side and my side, because we both have certainly made some interesting acquaintances in the past few months.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, now I'm looking forward to some good conversations. Now, let's get some housekeeping out of the way really quick.
Where's the broom?
Yeah, exactly. So everyone who is right now, it is September 22nd. As of last Friday night, Saturday morning, there was an outage for SpyClops Pro for the app. What happened is the server has gone down. So if you are getting phone calls from clients saying that they're unable to connect to their system from the app, it's not the system, it's not their service, it's not their phone, it is on our side, it is on the server on our end.
Did it smoke?
From the way the engineers described it, and the guys who run the IT department for that, the way that they described it, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it got taken down and taken down hard because not only did it take down the server, but it took down our backups of the server. And so if we had our backups, we would already be up and running and everything would be fine. Most people wouldn't even notice. However, because it took down our backups as well, we're having to rebuild everything from the ground up. And just forewarning, things like that take time. Usually spooling up a new server takes anywhere between 3 weeks to a month and a half. So we're pushing closer to a week to get it back up and going, just to make sure they're burning the midnight oil, burning on both ends of the handle.
But there are ways around that with to sign in directly.
Yeah, you can do port forwarding and sign in directly to the system with the app. You can do that. It is a little bit more involved, so you have to do port forwarding, and if it's a residential location, you may have to do some kind of dynamic DNS of some kind. However, that is an option if somebody needs it immediately. However, I can say if you are running into the issues with that, please reach out to us. You can find my email, adam.rogers@metraav. You can shoot me an email. I will add you to the list of people to be contacted when it does come back online.
So if they want to do port forwarding, can they contact you to walk through that, or do they have to contact their IP provider, or their service provider?
Yeah, you'll want to contact your service provider if it's obviously if it's a business location and commercial location, you'll want to contact the person who manages the network at that location. If you are doing it on a residential location, reach out to the service provider to find out how to do the port forwarding for that. Right now, the way that it works out is you need to forward two ports for the mobile app to work correctly. It's port 5000 and port 6000. Give me a call. I can give you that information as well. You can call this number down here, 386-492-8584, and I'll talk to you and at least give you that port information. I can't, unfortunately, do it for you, but I can give you the information that you need in order to do the port forwarding. But honestly, we're shooting at getting this back up and running just as quickly as possible, and we can let you know what's going on with that. Luckily, Leo, it is not ransomware. It was literally a drive failure, a system failure, to the point where it was just catastrophic. So, yeah, it was
and
bad.
By the way, I had a not dissimilar situation at the boss's house with some things that they took a lightning hit. And
yeah. Now we're not sure if it was a lightning hit or if it was just over time system failure or what, but it's crashed, and it's crashed hard. So
okay, so Other housekeeping, do the usual give me that speech.
Yeah, so everyone who's watching, thank you for watching. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell notification to let you know when we do go live, which of course is every Wednesday and Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Do we have a TikTok yet?
We have discussed that.
Should we do a TikTok?
Will's pushing for us to do TikTok. And you and I could certainly do some dance moves.
No. We'll do some
I think
TikTok
we just did our
challenges,
entire
right?
repertoire.
Yeah, exactly.
Right
That's
there.
about it.
Wait a minute.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, I have finished my repertoire.
The guy that does the anyways. Okay, we're good. Moving on.
Please.
If you have any questions about whatever it is that we're talking about today, and you're watching this live, leave it over here in the chat section on the side. If you are have any questions about what we're talking about, and you're watching this after the fact, and you're watching the recorded version of this, leave it down in the section below, in the comment section below. We do monitor those, and we do respond to those as quickly as we possibly can, so you can get good answers to good information.
More importantly, what are we talking about today, Adam?
Today is the second part of our series where we're talking about video distribution. Now, last Wednesday we talked about single source multi-zone distribution.
Yes.
And so today we are talking about multi-source. I am stepping all over this thing.
Yep, and hopefully we'll have our display back soon too.
Hopefully, yeah. In fact, I need to make a phone call today about that. But, so today we are talking about multi-source, multi-zone distribution. Now, this is in relation to specifically what needs to happen to get multi-source of different resolutions to multi-zones of different resolutions.
So multiple sources, multiple displays, different locations. How do we go about doing that? Mm-hmm. And we're going to cover 1.4, 2.0, and 2.1 in this discussion, I hope.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, if we can get through all of it, because there's quite a bit in this process. This is something that...
We're kind of going to gloss through 1.4, I think.
Pretty easily
covers it.
Well, and 1.4, I mean, honestly, we can gloss through it right now. So HDMI 1.4, which is the 1080p and lower resolution spec.
No, 4K 30 and lower resolution.
Okay, yeah, 4K 30 and lower. Where they was, well, no, because 1.4 was 1080p.
4K. No.
Did it have 4K as part of its spec?
1.4 was 4K. You know, the FAUX.
Yep.
So under the 10 gig, 4K 30, 3D, 1080p.
Okay.
720, 480, 540.
Now there just wasn't 4K TVs at the time.
Oh, there were. The original Sony was actually 1.4 that was 4K. Remember the round media server?
Right.
In fact, we have one somewhere. God only knows where.
Stashed away somewhere. Yeah.
Or it's a Frisbee.
Yeah.
But they actually, to get up past that, you actually had to have somebody come out and swap out the board.
Right.
On the television, because it was a 1.4 board and it did not support 2.2 HDCP.
Right. Okay. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about what it is we're talking about, Brent.
Dun, dun, dun.
Multi-source and multi-zone.
Ooh, look at that.
Right, there it is. Multi-source to multi-zone. So, with HDMI 1.4, like we were talking about just now, the 4K and lower, so 4K 30, 8-bit kind of a thing, and lower, that's pretty easy.
And we've been able to support that for 6-7 years, no problem.
No problem, yeah.
Even 3D.
Yeah.
As long as you had a 1.3 chip or higher, typically,
it
recognized that codec trigger.
Yeah. Now, in fact, it is so easy for us to do that part of it. Our matrix has come with the EDID setting already preset to 1080p. And the reason that we do that is because we want to make sure that you get the system in place and get some kind of picture, right? That way you know for a fact that the cabling's okay, everything else is on there, and everything's showing up in a picture.
A lot of manufacturers do that when you get even a UHD Blu-ray player, they'll come defaulted to 1080p.
Right.
Just to make sure you get a picture, because there's not always a guarantee your cables, your display.
Right.
You took a call yesterday from a guy that had a 4K HDR Apple TV.
Yes.
Trying to run through a plasma television.
Which is 1080p.
Somewhere to EDID.
Yeah. So he was running into problems. Yeah, he's gonna get problems with that, but hopefully we're gonna be able to find a solution for him. Which honestly, the solution is to replace the Apple TV.
And they've reintroduced the 1080p one for that reason.
Yeah, exactly. So for that purpose, then let's lay out kind of let's give ourselves a couple sources and let's give ourselves a couple TVs or displays, and what resolution capabilities they all are, and let's design a system. And along the way, right?
Before we get into the system, let's look at what options we have to pass the data around.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, there's 3 options that are available.
Sure.
Can you tell me what those 3 options are?
Well,
because I'm going to put you on the spot here, because I only discussed 2 of them with you earlier.
Well, is one of them going to be the having a system decentralized, where everything is just at the display?
No, because we're multi-zone, multi-source.
Okay. Well, the first one's pretty easy, right? We got it here in front of us, right? So this is just going to be.
I just put it right out of view.
Put it right out of view. So this is this is just a matrix. So
it
this
happens to be ours, but a matrix.
Yep, it's a matrix. It's our matrix. This is our 8x8
fast switching.
HDMI fast switching. EDID management built into this one, by the way, everybody. Which I think this Friday. I think we're talking about this one.
We're going to talk about that in hot plug interrupt. But so a basic matrix is one way.
Right.
And the advantage of the basic matrix is the fact that you can do this without compression.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on whether or not you're running HDBaseT or fiber.
Right.
You can fully uncompressed.
Yes.
No latency, no issues, just boom. The second option I did discuss with you.
Yes.
Which is?
Video over network.
Right, and we're not going to get into details, except that's an option. We'll get
it's out
as
there.
We get there.
Yep.
For the third option is video over coax.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Like the ZV stuff, modulated.
Yep.
Or old M3B.
Right.
Now, ZV is starting to breach into the 4K.
Yep.
But it's not the good 4K, it's just
4K. 4K.
Right now, the chipsets really are not out there to do the HDR and all the good stuff.
Right. Well,
at a price point that's doable.
With coax being the way that it is, and while it does have quite a bit of extra bandwidth capabilities on coax that we still haven't tapped into yet,
you still got to compress it a bunch.
You still have to compress it a lot, and there's still a limitation with it, and so that's going to be the hard part. But I mean, that is one way to do it.
Effectively, you wind up with a picture that's on par quality-wise with what your cable box gives you.
Yeah.
Which is, you can get a decent 4K picture.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Well, in
4K picture.
And you can get an HD image on an RF modulated system as well. You can get 1080p.
No problem. We did that with M3B.
Right.
And we have certainly looked at plenty of options to take it into 4K. Just none of them are at a price point that's accessible residentially.
Right. Well, and there's the RF modulation systems that actually use the built-in tuner of the TV itself and pick it up that way, where there's the only HDMI that you have is the HDMI that's going from the source to the RF modulator, to the encoder. Then the TV just has a coax connection to it and you're good to go. Those, honestly, if you're just doing 1080p,
are great.
They're great because you can go really long distances on the coax connection. You don't have to worry about switching anything because it's just the TV changing channels, which everyone's familiar with how that works.
The only problem is how do you control the sources? That can be problematic because if you're going with a basic modulation system, traditionally you're not going with an expansive control system as well.
Yeah, normally you see that in restaurants and bars where they have a few of the same sources, all different, DirecTV boxes or whatever.
And they just pick up the remote and just determine which one they're going to do. Right.
Yep, exactly. So, and honestly, it's not a bad way to do things. I'm a little bit more. When I first got into HDMI and video distribution and everything else, I was like, that's old school, right? Why would you do it that way?
Because it works.
Yeah, it works really well, and I honestly
the classic when it works
when doing correctly.
And unfortunately, right as said, right now to get to the good 4K is just not cost effective residential.
Right.
If you're a head end, like a cable company, and you're willing to spend thousands of dollars to take a channel and dump it into your system, that's acceptable. Residentially, it's not.
Right.
Because you're looking at a device this size effectively to take a source and convert it to a channel.
One source.
Right.
One source. Not a matrix where it takes in multiple sources. Yeah.
One source, a DIN, a 1U piece to convert it to a modulated channel.
Right.
With HLG.
So that's over coax. Now we also have, of course, we talked about over IP.
Right, over IP, and it's interesting because I'm not a big fan of it residentially, but I am a big fan of it commercially.
Yeah. Well, and it has a lot of the same concepts with the coax RF modulation as the networking, because essentially you would just have multiple encoders for each source, or one encoder per source, and then you would have a decoder that then just points towards one of those encoders. And once it locks onto it, gets the signal, and then it's able to distribute it. Now, the nice thing about that system is that it's easy to expand it and extend it
yes, it
over
is
longer
eminently
distances.
Scalable.
Right. And so you can, so long as you have enough IP addresses, and there's almost an unlimited number of IP addresses,
which we covered in one of our episodes.
Yep. And if you go beyond that number of IP addresses, I don't know what you're doing at that point, because you've got so many sources, but that may be a possibility. So there are other systems out there that use that system. I know the MOIP system from SnapAV. There's the Just Add Power system from Just Add Power. Crestron has a system, and I believe
AV Pro has a system.
Yes, they do. Yep. And then
also their acronym for
it. The other control system. Savant. Savant also has a system like that. So, and of course, since Control4 and SnapAV are now the same company, that's their distributed video system. So, but those systems are out there. They're available for that. One of the downsides to those systems are that video quality, right? So
you got to compress it down to a Cat5 network.
Yeah.
Not an HDB and not an HD-based T category cable.
No.
But a network environment.
Right. And a lot of those systems, they tell you the bandwidth limit for the HDMI input. And if you look at it, it's usually below 10 gigs.
Somewhere below 9, because the 10 gig is the ultimate, short distance. And the switch, you have to build headroom. You still have to have headroom for the switch.
Well, and the thing right now is that you're not. That's the HDMI input bandwidth. That's not even the output bandwidth on the network. When you go to the network, it's usually a gigabit network at that point.
So it's
you have to
fairly
compress
heavy
that.
compression.
Yeah, it has to compress all of that down to that. Now, it still works great if you have a large distribution system, or if you have a large house that you're wanting to do this in. It's great for that. Just be aware of syncing issues. Yeah, don't use it in the home theater. Use it for the extra TVs that are in the bedrooms and in other areas, the patio and whatnot. Use it for those because it's easy to distribute it from there. But for dedicated watching areas where you're here to watch something for the purpose of watching it.
Fidelity is important.
Yeah, do just straight shots for that. So, and then last but not least, of course, and my favorite way of doing things is just the central system. This is fair. So the experts are saying that Crestron NVX says that they don't lose any video quality. How expensive is that again?
Well, and first off, I would dispute that. That's marketing speak. There's no way you're going to compare any direct compression system to a direct cable.
That's the visually lossless quotes.
Which, yeah, I love that part of it. Visually lossless.
Well, and look, and here's the thing. We're not here to degrade or talk down to any of those systems. And honestly, the NVX system, they are very close to visually lossless, to actual visually lossless. But again, it's that price point. How much money are you putting into a system like that? Which many people are putting that much money into it, and they're spending that kind of money on it. You are, right? I mean, that's what you do. Where's your black card? Do you have it in there somewhere?
Oh, I have a black card, but it's not a black card.
The black card, right? Yeah, exactly.
I can promise you we're not putting an NVX
my card's black, too. I got a black one, too. See?
Yeah, see, I can promise you we are not putting an NVX in my house.
Don't let the camera see the numbers on that. They might they might grab that and start using it. So
for what? I can promise you they're not going anywhere on my card.
No, but honestly, it has its own place. And if that's something where the NVX system where I agree with Brent, I don't know how it's possible. It's honestly,
Who is that from?
That's from the experts.
It's to me, that's marketing speak.
Well, and again, when you have the budget to do a system like that, and let's be honest, Crestron's NVX system is amazing. It really is.
But okay. Here's the thing.
Right.
I don't care if it's NVX or any of the other acronyms you want to come up with.
Yeah.
Every one of those relies on something very, 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 very important. How good's your termination? How good's your wire? How far are you going? Are you going into patch panels? There's a whole lot of things that have to go into that for that to work correctly.
Does the NVX system require 1 gig or 10 gig
I think it's
networking?
1.
If it's 1 gig, I'm kind of curious. Let me know down in the chat.
I think they're 1.
Chat. Yeah. If it's 1, then they're doing some really awesome stuff because they are really good quality on that one. If it's 10, that makes a lot more sense as to how they're doing it because they have so much more headroom for that compression.
Then a 10 gig system becomes so much tougher to deploy.
Right. And that's where you run into problems because you need Cat6A, you need to have, it is 1 gig. Okay, cool. So it is a 1 gig system. That's awesome.
The
Really
biggest
is.
advantage of a straight up matrix,
Yeah.
first off, is control.
Yes.
And the speed of control.
Yes.
When you're running any over IP system,
Right.
any over IP system, it's a fairly complex control because it's not just selecting like channel inputs or saying I
Right.
want this, this, or this. No, because it has to go in and essentially reroute the signal to an, because we went down this road.
Yes. Yeah.
And we know it's not easy to change
Well, and
sources.
that's the reason why we don't have one. And we get that question a lot, you and I, and Stuart, when we're on tech support. Hey, are you guys ever going to do a network-based HDMI
I'm
distribution?
not going to say never.
No, because the thing is that we may find something that actually, or develop something that actually works correctly, but we're not there yet. We're
That's
like
that happy medium of value, performance.
right.
And we're not Crestron.
Again, the budget has a real play in this. So now,
I would like to be.
my favorite way to do things is with a centralized matrix. Now, and this is video distribution. My ultimate favorite way to do it is actually not video distribution.
But localized.
Localized.
But,
we're
it's
at the
funny
point where
'cause
we're there.
I have both in my house
Right.
because I have distributed
Mm-hmm.
and I have localized. For example, and I've got an Amazon, a Roku, and an Apple TV
Right.
on all my sets.
Right.
Now, honestly, that's as much for understanding how they work because you and I both take calls after hours or from our homes.
Right.
And I got to be, okay, you need to,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
too old to remember the steps.
Yeah.
Of those, and you and I have had this discussion, and you forced me into it, and I agree with you, I like the Roku.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to go off topic for a second. Where, if you take a system like what you described, where you have centralized and decentralized
Yes.
in the same house,
Yes.
where is your centralized and where is your decentralized?
Well, in my house, which is a mere 1,250 square feet, I don't live in the mansion that you do,
Of course, yeah.
on 20 acres of land.
Yeah.
So my rack's right as you walk inside the front door, backed into the laundry room,
Right.
which is not the best place to put your electronics.
It's just lint. That's
just
all it
lint,
is.
yeah, it's
right.
just dust,
come
but
on,
that's where mine
Yeah.
is.
Just don't light
But-
your cigarettes in there.
My audio is distributed, and my video surveillance is distributed.
Yes. So you break it down by source. What
Right.
which sources are distributed versus which
Right.
which
Now,
room.
I do have an Apple TV and an Amazon that go into the Matrix.
Right.
However, honestly, 99 times out of 100, I'm using my local
Yeah.
device.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to the point that even as a Crestron, RTI, URC, and sure we'll call myself a Control 4 programmer, I'm not. I did pass the course.
You have your
I have the certificate,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm here to tell you it was a lot harder than I anticipated. And I still haven't wrapped my head around it.
No.
But 9 times out of 10, I either pick up the Roku, the Amazon, or the Apple remote
Yeah.
because it turns the TV on and puts the TV in the proper position.
Yeah. I'm gonna
And it
go.
works.
I'm going to go way off subject. I really am. So, but I'm still staying kind of on subject because we're still talking about video distribution and stuff. I'm going to give me a top-down shot if I do this correctly here, if I remember how to do it, anyways. Haha,
Ooh,
there we
look
go.
at you.
Look at that. I figured it out. Okay. So here's how I break things down. Okay.
So you're
Or
going to be
how-
like Fox
how I-
News?
how I
You're going
would.
to be like Fox News? This is how this goes down?
This is how this goes down. I don't understand that reference.
Oh, because Fox News, we're gonna. This is how it goes down. They try to be hip with when they're talking about
Sure.
here's how it went down.
Sure. So here's what I like to do for this setup.
Mouse ears?
Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, so I've got my living room. I have my
That
master
looks like left
bedroom.
rear.
Okay. I have my theater.
I know you do.
Yep. I have my guest room, and I have a kid's room. Okay. So then I have from there, I have a couple sources. Now, I've got a surveillance system. Did I spell surveillance right?
I don't know. You could call it VSS for video surveillance system.
Yeah, well, video surveillance, VS. I mean, we could just do, what is it? The
Closed circuit TV?
yeah, CCTV.
CCTV?
Yeah, CCTV. Yeah. We'll
Does
do Apple
anybody
TV.
under 40 know that?
I mean, I know that. I'm under 40, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you actually know that?
I did closed circuit TV systems. I mean, because it's surveillance. It's just closed circuit because there's no connection outside. That's the whole idea of closed circuit.
Hence but now with the clouds and.
Well, and then everybody wants to view it remotely and everything else. But yeah, no, I did do a couple of those. So what I have here, I have my surveillance and I have DirecTV times 2, and I have an Apple TV 1080p. Okay.
I'm sorry, but okay.
Yeah. So, well, now here's the thing. My guest room has a 1080p TV, and the kids' room is 1080p TV.
You just don't like your kids, do you?
It's the hand-me-downs, right? Now, I'm not going to spend $300 on a 4K TV for them.
You're just a horrible father.
Well, they are that cheap now, aren't they? $300 for $400?
4K, yeah.
Yeah, for 4K. No, anyways.
You're a terrible dad.
So in the theater, of course, I've got we're going 4K. We don't have the 8K projector yet. We've got a 4K projector. And we've got a 7.
And a horrible father.
2.1. No, sorry, 7.2.
7.2.
7.1.4. Okay, we're going. It's a badass, theater, right? It's got 4 Atmos speakers up in the ceiling. I really got to talk to
your boss because you're overpaid.
I'm not. No, because this is what's that Family Guy? I am $30,000 in credit card debt. Whatever. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. In the master bedroom, we also have our 4K TV in there, and in the living room, this is where we splurged a little bit because that's the room that we watch the most.
Put the OLED in?
We put the OLED 8K in there, right? Okay, so
the 77-inch OLED 8K.
Yes. Now, in the rooms is where things get kind of interesting. So I like the way that you do things where you have your surveillance distributed to the different areas, because usually surveillance, you either have 1080p or 4K, right?
Right.
So in this case, I'm going to say that that's a 1080p surveillance system, and that's easy to distribute.
So it's not a Spyclops Pro.
No, correct. Yeah. So my DirecTV, this times 2, is also distributed. Now this one is distributed just like everything else. It can go to any of the rooms.
You have 2 of those. You have a his and hers DirecTV units.
Correct. Now, that's all distributed. So all of these devices here are all. This probably would have been easier. I can say all of these are distributed. Distributed. Now, the reason I have these distributed is because it doesn't matter who's watching that. Here in the living room, they can watch the Apple TV in there. They can watch in the guest room, the kids' room. 2 DirecTVs dedicated to the distributed audio or distributed video system, right? So that way they can, watch it wherever they want to watch it. Most of the time, I don't care because it's DirecTV and I'm not watching that cable or whatever it is, right? Because here in the master bedroom, I have a dedicated, localized DirecTV.
By the way, DirecTV changed their app name again.
Yeah, DirecTV Stream.
Stream, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 4 times in 1 year.
I don't know why they can't pick just one, right?
Okay, it was DirecTV. Then it was AT&T TV. No, it was AT&T Now.
Right.
Then became AT&T TV, and now it's DirecTV Streaming.
I guess they're AT&T is
because they separated them.
I think AT&T is going to try to sell off DirecTV.
I think they're just going to sell they're just going to let them fold.
Yeah, they brought back the DirecTV name. So we have a DirecTV 4K here in the master bedroom. I also have an Apple TV 4K in there as well. But that's localized, right? It's a dedicated system just for the master bedroom. That Apple TV and that DirecTV 4K are dedicated to that room. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing that I can watch in there. I can watch the other stuff over here.
Where's your audio?
My audio?
Yeah, I don't see music distribution there.
Well, because we're not talking about music distribution, are we?
On our Matrix, you could.
Well, yeah, you've got the audio distribution on that.
Yeah. So for example, if you have a like one of the Amazon TV cubes, you've got all the music sources.
Do they still sell the cubes?
Well, whatever the current version.
The Fire Stick or whatever it is. Yeah.
Because that is a phenomenal audio distribution. You still have to go out of that on one of the outputs into your audio matrix.
So there are some things out there where you can have, you can either have the audio distributed
to the TV
through the TV directly, and then you've got the TV being your audio endpoint. Again, there's that thing, right? I'm telling you, endpoint's the way to describe it, right? Tell me over in the chat section or down in the comments, what's the best way to describe the last thing in a system run, a display, an endpoint, speaker, whatever it is. I like calling it endpoint, but again, it comes from Control 4.
I'm going to say you've drank the Kool-Aid.
But the thing is that we had this discussion before. There's honestly
not another
really
viable term.
There's not an audio endpoint and a video endpoint. It just works. It's a really good way to describe it. So, anyways, all that to say, Kool-Aid. I like it cherry flavored.
I'm a green Kool-Aid guy.
A green Kool-Aid. Well, you're wrong.
Military.
You're wrong, but you know.
Cherries for medicine.
So now here in the guest room and in the kids' room, honestly, they don't need local sources. They may have like maybe an Xbox or something in the kids' room, because again, they're playing there with it in the kids' room instead of playing anywhere else.
And you do want control over what they see.
Well, that, and also with the Xbox being in that room, it's close enough for them to use the controllers, because the controller is wireless to it, but
right.
it has a limitation.
So then they have
right?
all of their apps and everything on that, if they don't have a smart TV.
Well, and they've got the Apple TV that they can distribute from as well, because again, you've got the kids' room and then you've got the guest room. The guest, every once in a while, they're going to be there, but the guest is probably not going to use the Apple TV to watch something, right? We may give them in that room like a smart TV to where they can cast directly to the smart TV when they're staying over. But the truth is, I don't know about you, but guests are happy to come in and stay for a visit.
But you don't want them to.
I don't want them to stay. I want them to come and visit, hang around for a little bit, and then go away.
Yeah, remember, guest and fish, 3 days is too long.
Yep, exactly. So, now, again, in my theater, this is where I have my DirecTV 4K. We've got our 4K 2.1 Apple TV. We've got our Oppo player in there, UHD
There's a new
player.
one, Revlon or something.
Yeah, who's the new one?
I saw it at the TV shootout.
You have to look it up again.
Yeah, it's Revlon or Rev something.
So the reason I do it this way is because I can have my surveillance system on any TV in the house, right? I can have like a TV in the kitchen, have it in the master bedroom, have it in the theater, because the surveillance system is one device, right? And I want to be able to see that anywhere. So yeah, put it on the video distribution system.
And if you're using one of the SpyClops Pro that has triggered outputs,
yes,
you can tie it into an announcement system on your distributed audio.
Yep.
And hey, I need to.
Yeah, exactly. You can just do it right from there. You just reminded me of something else. I'll have to give somebody a call. Anyways. I had a tech call yesterday about our SpyClops system. And I remember you just reminded me that we do have that capability. We do have a contact closure on many of our units.
When you're a Crestron programmer,
that's what you think a big thing. Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, so with the
if you're Control 4, the Zigbee pieces.
Well, the Zigbee pieces, but Control 4 also has contact relay or contact sensing on it.
Their remote stuff is just awesome on the Zigbee interface.
The Z to
Sorry
IO
to get
pieces.
Off
no, yeah. Well, are you kidding? I'm way off topic. So this is what I like to do, because it gives me the ability to have a couple devices that are shared through the entire house.
Yes, well, you've been to the LA house.
Yes.
The LA house has 5 primary satellite receivers, which are dedicated, each one's dedicated to a certain area, but the great room and the master suite can see any of the 5.
Right.
So they have the ability to check any of them and put shows on all of them. There's a 6th one that's music only.
Okay.
Then, of course, we've also got the music, the Amazon as a music source.
Right.
Video surveillance as a source.
Yep.
So they can see that from any TV.
Right.
But they've also got local capabilities with Roku's on every room, which now with the Apple app built in, you can cast from your device right through the Roku app. And
yeah, exactly.
It's awesome.
So the nice thing about all of this is that I'm dedicating my higher quality sources direct to the room that they're in, that they're going to be watched in. Because the thing is that if I try to get this Oppo on the distributed video system, I now have to make sure that my distributed video system is up to snuff to be able to handle all of that.
Then you obviously didn't buy my distributed video system.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, obviously you're using the wrong one, because you should have called us and bought our matrix. No, but honestly, the thing is that even with the video matrix, you still have to make sure that you have extended. Yep, we're good. You have to make sure that you have HDMI cables or HDMI extension systems in place that support all of that. Which
or
again,
downscale.
Or downscale, which again, you should be calling us, because we have the equipment that does that. Now, everything that I'm saying doesn't matter, because you can do all of this through, there we go. You can do everything through.
I could have done that.
Yeah, I know, but I did it faster. Anyways, everything that I'm talking about, of course, you can centralize system. You can take all of those sources and put it in one centralized system and do it that way.
I still like a hybrid.
Yeah.
And I think we've got many years of hybrid ahead of us.
And I think we're going to see more hybrid systems rather than
fewer
decentralized systems.
Because as video surveillance becomes more and more important, and it's certainly becoming more important.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the growth of the NVR, DVR systems in the last 5 years.
Yep.
You've been with us 3 years now?
3 years. Yep. As of December, it'll be 3 years.
Obviously, that's 3.5 too many. But the ability to see that anywhere is becoming important.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just being able to see it on your phone, but being able to see it inside the house and pull it up that way.
Let's be honest, when you're 61 years old, trying to look at your front door on this is not near as nice as looking at it on your 65 or 75 in the bedroom.
Right. Yeah, be able to see what's going on and high definition, right? Well, and now that we've got the 4K cameras. Yeah, exactly. So, okay. So now we've talked about video distribution versus decentralized systems. So centralized versus decentralized. We've talked about the different ways to distribute video systems. And so now, what about how do we make sure that all of it works?
Well, let's look back.
Yeah.
The most important thing on 2 of the 3 we talked about, which is coax and IP distribution, is termination, termination, termination.
What about
authentication?
Okay.
And now, occasionally we just see garbage wire out in the field.
Yeah, it happens.
Particularly if you can take your Cat 5 and it sticks to a magnet.
Yeah. Yep.
You got a problem.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
But our wall plates or EZ45s or any kind of the pass-through terminations, that's still super critical.
Right.
And it's no less critical on an IP-based system than it is on an HD-based T system.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do this. What's your favorite way of distributing? Let us know. Put it over in the chat section over here or down in the comments. Let us know what your favorite way to distribute video systems is. Do you think decentralized versus centralized, or do you think we're going to see hybrid systems? What are you using now? Are you doing more of a hybrid setup? Are you doing dedicated, decentralized Apple TVs, but all of the cable boxes are centralized? Let us know down in the comment section or over in the chat section what you're doing. I'd like to hear.
When we first started selling Matrix, we certainly got some feedback. Oh, you don't need those anymore. They're already passé because everything's localized. Based on the numbers of the Matrixes we're selling,
that's not the case.
It's the same thing we heard in the early days. Well, you don't have to pull wire because it's all going wireless.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Well, everything's wireless, right? Why do we need to run all these wires? Why do we need to do any of this? Everything's wireless.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I prefer a just straight up matrix because of the lack of delays, because if you're going to break the audio out, it syncs up better.
Yes.
Versus an IP system, because the audio and the picture never sync correctly.
Right.
Even with the delays built into some of them, it's impossible to do.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the biggest things. And even, truth be told, even in a dedicated HDMI distribution system, like this system here, you can have small variances in audio delay.
Because of lip sync differences between displays.
Exactly.
But it's still really close, and you got to watch. It's not like watching a Chinese movie from the 70s.
Yeah, exactly. The mouth moves, and then you hear somebody say something. So, what else do we have to worry about, Brent? We've got, especially, let's say in a perfect world.
Grounding problems.
Well, grounding problems are probably big ones because of distances that we're traveling and just even local systems.
The advantage of an HDMI, particularly a fiber system versus a coax or an IP system, yes, you still have the potential for grounding, but it's not near as high because you don't have as much electronics in the system. Because we don't have a network switch. We don't have a network switch controller. We don't have wall jacks. We don't have all the individual components that go into an IP system. If you have a fiber cable, okay, yes, there's copper and a hybrid fiber cable.
Yes.
But it's a straight connection.
Yeah.
You're going from the matrix to the display.
Well, and with our matrices, at least, we have a grounding connection on our matrices specifically for that reason, because we know that grounding problems are huge when it comes to networking or video or anything else. Ground this to the rack that it's in, or ground if it's not in a rack, ground it to something that's in the area.
Your surge protector?
Yeah, the surge protector. Use it for that purpose. It helps, save your life in a lot of cases or not your life, but saves your project anyway. So. And
by the way, grounding's important. We've just, as we're sitting here talking, Jason from the car side, who runs the R&D for the mobile side, just walked by, and he's a big proponent of grounding. He used to be one of the instructors at II.
Yep.
And a lot of time is spent on grounding.
I'm glad you remembered his name, though.
Yes, because I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Unlike some of the presenters in this program,
yes, you remember people.
I remember people's names. Who the hell are you?
It took me at least 3 months to remember who you were, and I deal with you every day.
No, that's a block.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's a whole different problem.
Yeah, that's different. So when we look at going back to this problem here, one of the other problems that we run into is even with a system that has all the same resolution capabilities. So let's say all the sources are 4K 60, HDR,
and all the same
that
brand of TV?
Stuff. All the same brand TV, all the same model TV. You still run into problems with EDID.
Sure you do.
Right? And so one of the things that you need to make sure of doing with these distributed video systems is making sure that the EDID management is taken care of. Because when you have one source and one display, that's really easy. They kind of handle it themselves. Everything's good to go. But when you start throwing in multiple displays...
Just simply throw in an AVR.
Throw in an AVR, throw in multiple sources, and you're going to run into an EDID problem because not everything is made with the concept that it's going to be put into a large distribution system like this.
Actually, the vast majority of it's made without the intent.
Well, and many TV systems manufacturers create with the intention that they are no more than 3 to 6 feet away from the source device.
From the source, with nothing in the middle.
Right, and so taking control over the EDID management of that entire system is honestly it's very important. I kind of credit that towards making sure that, like on a network system, that you have control over the IP address scheme. Making sure that it's not, you're not letting the router, just hand out random IP addresses to everything.
Which, by the way, if you haven't seen that episode from us, I encourage you to do so.
Yeah. How long ago was that? A year ago?
8 months, I think.
8 months ago? Yeah, it was towards the beginning of this year. Yeah, check out that video. We do talk about that. But it's the same idea with EDID. We want to make sure that, I almost said DHCP, we want to make sure that we have control over what's going on, because if we just let it haphazardly do it on its own,
it's like when
seven times out of 10, it's going to work perfectly fine.
It's pretty much the same as, hey, I need somebody to do this, and not appointing somebody to do it, and it doesn't get done.
Yeah, what was that? It's if there's ever an emergency situation, don't just say call. You
point at somebody and say you call.
You call. No, yeah, you don't just say someone call. You point someone out and say you call. It is like that. Honestly, it is, because you can run into problems where the system will just kind of be like, well, okay, I don't know what you want from me, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to send any video. I'm not going to HDCP.
You do understand my job. I don't know what you want from me, so I'm not doing nothing.
I have so many things, and yet I have nothing. Anyways.
How are we doing on time?
Honestly, we're at 45 minutes, and I think I've kind of trailed on a lot with this one, but honestly, when it comes to multi-source and multi-display distribution, a lot of it's going to come down to how are you getting the video there, how are you switching it, and how are you controlling everything.
And what is the intent?
And
what's the intent? Is it a hi-fi environment?
Yeah.
A high-fidelity video environment, excuse me.
Yeah.
If it's signage, doing a modulated or an IP is wonderful.
Yep.
Because it's eminently scalable. Oh, yeah, I need to add another TV over there. No problem.
Yeah.
If, however, it's residential, where picture quality is important, the ability to control the EDID correctly, the ability to keep the audio broken out correctly without any delays.
Yep.
I think a dedicated matrix is still the safest way to go.
Well, and you can even look at systems where you have, again, the central location, the living room, the master bedroom, whatever it is the viewing room. That's the room that you are going to do most of the watching of whatever it is you're doing. And the other rooms, the 32-inch TV that's in the kitchen, or 24-inch or whatever that's in the kitchen or something like that.
You really are a lousy dad, aren't you?
It's in the kitchen. No one. The only person watching anything in the kitchen is me while I'm cooking something.
You are a 32-inch in the kitchen.
What do you have in the kitchen?
43?
43.
But that's my desk monitor.
Well, but see, that doesn't count then. It's your desk monitor.
Well,
it's
if
just
it's in
kind
the
of off to the
kitchen.
side. Okay, all right.
I still
all
have
right.
Netflix, Vudu, Hulu, and all this other hoopla on it.
All right, you win. So, but the thing is that in those situations where that
And
TV,
distributed audio in the kitchen.
well, that's a must. You have to have distributed audio in the kitchen because you're not cooking without music. If
No,
you're,
I'm not.
If you're cooking without music,
You're not cooking.
you need medical. You need like you need
I'm
help.
looking forward to your new home
I am too.
because
Yeah.
we're gonna.
Could we do a series?
Why not?
Can we do like a
renovation
design
series?
and renovation
Yeah.
series of some kind? Oh, that would be cool.
Brent and Adam destroy a home. How's your wife gonna feel about that? She's met me once.
Once.
That probably is the end of this program.
All right. So everybody, I think honestly that kind of covers
Well-
that. Do you have one more thing to
Well,
it?
first off, don't forget Friday
Yes.
is Metra AV Tech Solutions.
TechTips Solutions. Yes.
And we're going to discuss one of the reasons, actually many of the reasons that you really want to do a matrix because of what's built into ours.
Specifically ours. Yeah.
Specifically
and we'll,
ours.
We'll talk about that on Friday, so come back for that. And the come back next week because next week we are talking about surge protection.
Ooh, MOVs.
MOVs. Specifically because I had no idea how MOVs worked. And
Now you do.
And now I do. And I am actually now managing all of the power products here at Metra. So all of our power strips, which have MOVs built into them. I wanted to find out how does an MOV work, and I did a lot of research, and I get that research over to you now. So come back next week. We're going to talk about MOVs. Come back Friday. We're going to talk about our matrices specifically and why
We
they're
think
important.
you should buy ours.
Yep. And then after that, I think we have some other stuff going on, but we'll.
There's a lot of stuff's going on.
Yeah, we've got in the pipeline. We have a couple interviews with a couple different companies.
Yep. Some
or
fun ones coming
manufacturers.
up.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that. We have some really interesting topics coming up that we don't. It's not live yet for those topics, but keep an eye on us. We've got some really cool stuff coming for that. And as always, everybody who's watching, thank you so much.
Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your neighbors. Tell your friends.
Yep.
Tell your family.
Hit that little bell notification to let you know when we do go live, which of course is every Wednesday for AV Tech Tips and every Friday for AV Tech Tips Solutions.
And once again, do not forget to send those gift cards for restaurants to Adam and I.
Sure. Yeah, that works.
We like to eat.
Yep, exactly. Thank you, everybody, for checking in with us. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us directly. Of course, you can reach me at adam.rogers at Metra AV.
You gonna hit the right button this time?
There it is.
Nope.
Or you can reach out to us. You can call us for tech support at 386-492-8584.
I'm Brent.McCall at metraav.com.
Yep. And hopefully we're going to get our TV back here pretty soon.
Which has all of our good stuff on it.
Which has all
with
the good information on that. So, and as always, everybody, if you have questions about whatever it is that we're talking about, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below, or in the next 30 seconds, you leave it over in the chat section.
Now,
where we
a
can
while
talk about
back,
that.
we asked for people to send photos of their systems and their racks. And has anybody sent us photos?
Not yet. We're still looking for that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Surely one of you guys does good work. And if it's a bad job you didn't do, share that one with us too, so we can have a good
yeah.
laugh.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody, thank you so much for checking in with us. Come back next this Friday and next Wednesday where we'll talk about more stuff, and we can go from there. So
Remember, reboot early,
reboot often.
turn off CEC,
Don't cut your wires too short.
call tech support. I'm Brent.
I'm Adam.
We're out of here.
We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.